Okay, so if we look here, the left-hand one was your first grip of the day, or kind of how you were doing it, and you can sort of see that thumb kind of curving, and that to me just looks like a hammer in your hand, and you want to give it a bit of a that way, okay? Then you've kind of got your right hand a bit more on top, and you can see that thumb now quite long and extended. Just look how neat and tidy that grip looks to me. If you look at that there, I mean, that, I'm not trying to say it's to blow smoke up or whatever, that grip can be taken from anyone on TV and say, who's that? You wouldn't know. I mean, arguably it's a smidgen weak in your left hand, but the fact you're not really slicing and you tend to pull, that's not the end of the world. But your right hand there, you've got that little V that you're talking about there, kind of working up towards that right shoulder. Yeah, this one, I mean, this is like,
it's almost slightly hinged the other way.
Exactly, yeah, you got, I mean, that's the thing, we want this kind of curvature or cup in here, whereas this one, as you can see, it's almost a bit...
It's that thing about sort of wrist hinging, isn't it?
Exactly, well that's the thing, and your wrist basically do this in the golf swing, yeah? There's a little bit of that involved in, but the wrists are basically doing this, yeah? So your wrist needs to be in a position where it can basically cock back. You might just throw in a ball, pitching a ball, tennis shot, your right hand wrist, or your right wrist in this case, would basically hinge 90 degrees, yeah? And then when you unhinge that, that's when you release the power, yeah? So your wrist is cocked. As you come to the golf ball, then you release it. If you're gripping it like this,
because you can't.
It's going to be...
The only way it can go is...
Exactly. So the thing is, that there to me looks like you're trying to do a hook as a boxing punch. So your wrist there, and you're trying to sort of do it that way, where your wrist would be in that kind of bowed position.
I think basically, Gareth, it's just it got to the point that because I can rotate and can do things, I got so tense with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You think you're doing the right thing, but in fact you're nowhere near.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. But I mean, if you look at this here now, we've got that grip there now as we get set up. Okay, sort of jigged around here. If you look at the movement there now, backswing for me has always been pretty good. You've always taken the golf club back in a nice position there, taking it back on a good angle, hands and arms work with the chest nicely away there. It's always been this movement coming down. You've always sort of dumped the club over the top here now, just because I think, again, you can see a nice little right hand angle here with that right wrist, because you're there. Now you're able to get the arm to do this, you see. When your wrist is like this, it just... it's almost like a hook shot down to the ground, which is going to, I think of a hook in boxing, you are swinging around, out and around, you're not going to come from the inside. So if we watch this now as you come back down, the club's coming back down now, kind of more in front of your chest. As we come into the golf ball, the shaft now is this side of the golf ball, where we see it in the past sort of sticking out over here somewhere, where the shoulder's coming. We can also see daylight between your left and right arm, which if you're looking down the line from where you are there, if my shoulder stays back and I'm here, there's the daylight. If I get my shoulder and do this, you're going to see the other side where your arms will be locked together. So the fact we can see that club working on a better angle and the club face now is square is meaning that golf club now can swing that golf ball. We can just see that ball hitting the screen there, hitting the screen right to that line. And you had a couple there that were actually starting right and actually drawing back a little bit, okay? And I think from your point of view, if we can eliminate the big hook or the destructive hook, because, and I think, you know, on the golf course yourself, you tend to set up for it to anti-hook it, so you aim for the right. Well, that's all well and good if you've got treble left, but there are some holes you don't want to aim 30 yards right, like on the third and fourth of the button, or the fifth of the button, those first 3 or 4 holes there, right's not really that bounds there, so then you're going to just encourage to hit it even further left, and then you're down the wrong fairway. So having that face control, I think with the grip like it was there, that thumb just creeping around there. And I think it's always been a little bit that way, but it just seems the last few sessions getting a little bit more over. I've always been a little bit hesitant to change grip because it attaches us. But I think you seem to have adapted to it quite quickly, to be fair.
Well, I think, to be fair, that's when my grip used to be. And it's just, it slipped to, initially.
And that thumb going, exactly, and I think the second you put that thumb in that position where you had it, a very long thumb, it just creates a sort of hammery style grip position.
The most ironic thing about it is that I'm always saying to Runa, your right hand's in the wrong place.
But you can see other people, can't you?
She's often got her thumb around here. I'm saying, get your right hand further over.
Exactly.
Bloody irony of that.
I won't tell her, don't I? So it's all stay secret, okay? But I mean, in terms of actually that positioning, I think where you did do it and then afterwards, it got a little bit on the long thumb side. As I say, for me, I like that kind of tidy nature of that grip there, where you can look at that. I think from a sort of visual thing, at home practice, just get in front of a mirror and a reflection, just get that kind of feeling with that right hand. And I think as well, practice hitting shots with just or making swings with just your right hand. And I think naturally, if I said to you it was just your right hand as you're doing there, you'd want to hold it more in this position as opposed to that position. You want to hold
it there. You haven't got control.
That's out of the golf ball. It's like if
I'm
here now,
it's right on the back.
Exactly.
It's there. You've got.
And that's what I said about doing if you're going to try and smash a wall down with a sledgehammer, you grip it as hard as you can, and you're just trying to smack something on that wall 6 foot sort of radius. Okay. Whereas if you want to write your name or use your phone, it's fingers, it's smaller movements and more control movements.
Finer.
Exactly. We don't power and hit. But the thing is, golfers generically they want to give it a whack. Yeah. Because that's how you fun. That's how we hit it further in our mind. But we put it. They go faster, and that's the thing. People learn to hit the ball faster and further that way, as opposed to gripping. If that thumb gets round there, it's hard. If I put my thumb round there, it's hard then to do that naturally.
Oh yeah.
If I get in this way, but more on the fingers, I can actually open that club face out a little bit more, and it just I think give you a bit more control of that face.
And that's the thing is you don't appreciate they talk about club head speed and all that sort of stuff on the tour, and you sort of think, wow, you've got to swing it faster and faster. But in fact, 80 to 90% of what they're achieving is simply that they're flushing the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, the measurement you see on TV, they always measure ball speed, not necessarily club head speed,
right.
because it's how well they hit it. Right. I could swing a golf club, so say 100 mile an hour with a driver and hit it 130 yards with like the worst efficiency go. I could just slide way across it, glancing below that golf ball, maybe top end it a little bit so I sky it and hit an horrific golf shot. I could hit a drive with 70 mile an hour club head speed and knock over 200 yards by striking at the middle of the golf club. Yeah. So not necessarily, and the ball speed on the 70 mile an hour would actually be faster than the one that went 130 yards, because the speed in which that ball leaves the club face is what determines how far that ball goes.
It's all in the energy,
which is why guys say, when you want to try and hit it further, just got to hit it harder. Yeah. Well, you might hit it harder. If you hit it harder that direction, there's not a lot of power to that than hitting it that way. Yeah. And it's always that speed element, which is why you look at a lot of these women on tour. They're like 4 foot nothing. Oh yeah. They create so much lag and weapon snap with the club head because they just got fast twitch value with it. And they're knocking at 250, 260, 270. So Lexi Thomas is like 300 yards.
Well, we talked about the girl that we played golf
exactly
with
in States. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think they understand the concepts of speed, and that's what it comes down to. How do you get much club head speed with efficiency at the same time? Yeah. It's not club head power. And if I said you move this thing, you'd use big muscles and you'd be like push squeeze. Yeah. If you want to try and flick something like a swat fly, it'd be fast movement. Yeah. So get that grip in that more.
It's back to playing squash and badminton rather than playing tennis.
Well, exactly. And you think how far you can hit a squash ball when you got the racket, because of the walls in the way. The racket can't go back that far anyway. So you got a small, when you got to try to get it back to the wall. If you had to try and do it this way, the wall would be in the way. Yeah. So it's got to be this small little movement. Control that club face. And like I said at the start, we want to get that path more in that direction, with the face more in that direction, to take the stress off that knee. If we're coming with that hammer and we're doing this, you're putting a lot more pressure on the knee. And then you're going to back up as well, with maybe thinning it as well as pulling it.
I can say that we've done this for almost 3 quarters of an hour, and I have no discomfort in my knee.
That's the biggest thing. That for me is the biggest thing.
And that's
in some ways, because then you can play longer.
That for me is a huge thing.
Exactly. Yeah. You can play more, which means then you can practice more, and then you can then convert that practice into performance improvement rather than be like, 20 balls, my knee's gone. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Have a couple more, buddy. We'll see how it goes. All right.